The perp dex wars are in full swing, and things are only intensifying as more competitors enter the arena. But there's one top-tier project seeing huge trading volume, yet flying under the radar: EdgeX. Consistently ranking in the top 5 perp dexes by volume and open interest, this is one platform you absolutely should not ignore. So today, we're doing a deep dive into EdgeX, why it's worth considering, and how you can use the platform to make the most of your on-chain trading. This is Guy, and you're watching The Coin Bureau. First things first though, nothing here is financial advice. This video is simply an educational deep dive into the EdgeX platform. And remember folks, perps trading is not easy. Liquidation risk is real, and if you don't have a tested approach to perps with an edge, then slow down before you engage with this stuff. Also, just to be clear, this video is not sponsored. We have an exclusive sign-up deal that can save you a lot of crypto on EdgeX, but you're still getting our unfiltered views, tips, and tricks. We'll come back to that deal later though, so stick around. With all that out of the way, smash that like button, and let's begin. Now, EdgeX had a pretty unique start to life. The DEX rolled out of Amber Group's incubator with one main goal: deliver centralized exchange-grade perps without sacrificing self-custody. In case you weren't aware, Amber is a leading asset management and trading firm based in Asia, and they've been involved in crypto trading and market making since 2017. They have ultra-deep liquidity, OTC and derivatives desks, and some serious execution know-how. Publicly naming EdgeX among its first incubations, this put all those resources, relationships, and market maker DNA on tap from day one. In September 2024, EdgeX formally announced itself to the wider market with its mainnet launch. The positioning was clear: an order book perps venue that intends to match centralized exchange speed while keeping settlement on Ethereum. EdgeX runs an order book perp dex with a SEX-like interface on top of StarkX, the battle-tested zero-knowledge engine you may have seen behind other serious exchanges. To get a little bit more technical, EdgeX is an Ethereum layer 2 with 3 moving parts: a settlement layer, a matching engine layer, and a hybrid liquidity layer to route trade flows. But technical terms aside, the bottom line is that this allows EdgeX to execute up to 200,000 orders per second with sub-10 millisecond transactions when fully dialed. That's the kind of performance necessary to make a DEX feel like a SEX. Nice. Now, all of this might sound a bit intimidating, and perhaps you're thinking that EdgeX is only for professional market makers and traders. However, it provides a super simple UX and onboarding process to make it easy for anyone to get started. More on which later. Now though, for the obvious question, from a user's perspective, how does EdgeX stack up against other leading perp dexes such as Hyperliquid? Well, first, one of the most important things to consider when choosing a platform: fees. EdgeX's taker fees start at 0.038%. That's considerably lower when compared to Hyperliquid's base of 0.045% for takers. In case you didn't know, taker fees are the fees for executing a market order. In other words, just smashing that buy now or sell now button. For maker fees, which apply if you're placing limit orders, the difference is even greater. EdgeX's base rate for makers is 0.012% in comparison to Hyperliquid, which starts at 0.015%. So whether you're hitting market buys or setting limit orders and waiting for price to come to you, EdgeX has lower fees than Hyperliquid. And this can really compound for active traders. And if you want to skip to VIP 1 status on EdgeX so you pay even less in fees, then you can do so by using the link in the description of this video or by scanning this QR code. Now that link also gives you a 10% rebate for life and 10% more points for EdgeX's current points campaign. More on that later. So just follow that link to the EdgeX exchange and your discount code will be automatically applied as you're prompted to connect your wallet. And don't worry, we'll walk you through that process later. Now, EdgeX also shines in another area that's really important: liquidity. And particularly liquidity for the size that most retail traders are actually using. Recent independent comparisons of BTC order book liquidity showed EdgeX offering more executable size for those sub-$6 million market orders when compared to Hyperliquid and lighter. And needless to say, that's the band where most of us are trading below, well, unless there are some serious whales watching. But the practical takeaway here is that EdgeX offers tighter spreads and less slippage on your market orders, and better odds your limit order gets filled instead of skipped. Combine that with low taker fees for a retail trader who's stacking dozens of entries and trims, and the positive effects can compound in a big way. Now, we should note that things like liquidity are dynamic and they can change day to day. But remember, this project is an offspring of Amber Group, a leading crypto market-making firm. That strongly suggests they plan on maintaining the healthy liquidity environment they've established. Anyway, the next area where EdgeX has something unique to offer is mobile. EdgeX has shipped official mobile apps for both iOS and Android, which is very handy if you need to manage a position but find yourself nowhere near your laptop. Hyperliquid's website is mobile-friendly and has multiple third-party clients, but there's no official app yet. So if you like clean first-party mobile flows, then EdgeX is for you. Then we have improved collateral friction. With EdgeX, you may not have to use a bridge at all to deposit your collateral. The DEX functions with Ethereum's Layer 1, Arbitrum, and BNB chain, and you can deposit using either USDT or USDC. That multi-chain approach, while covering the two major stablecoins, helps a lot with UX, and it's pretty cool tech to boot. Your collateral stays on your chosen chain, but your trades tap a shared liquidity pool. There's also the matter of getting stablecoins out when it comes to withdrawals. On EdgeX, you have 3 chains to choose from when you want to withdraw stables. That's handy if you're operating across ecosystems or you're trying to avoid a congested chain. On Hyperliquid, by comparison, the only path is USDC back to Arbitrum. It's smooth, but less flexible if your workflow spans multiple networks and Arbitrum happens to be running into issues when you want your funds. Okay, so EdgeX has a edge over some of its competitors in certain areas. But what does the market have to say about this? Well, let's have a look at some key metrics according to data from DeFi Llama. Let's start with perp trading volume. Over the last 30 days, EdgeX has pushed around $100 billion in perp volume, big league flow for a venue that is still somewhat under the radar. Meanwhile, on the revenue side, the platform just hit a monthly record in September with over $31 million in revenue. That was a big spike over previous months, just about double August's revenue, which was the previous record month. And now for the market quality stats that everyone is looking at these days: volume, open interest, and the ratio of those two. The snapshot at the time of making this video is about $3.6 billion in 24-hour volume and roughly $1.3 billion in open interest on EdgeX. That puts the volume to open interest ratio in the circa 2.7 ballpark. That figure, based on industry standards, tells us there might be some incentive-driven trading going on, but it's certainly not so high that it indicates a pure points farm. For some reference, Asta is front and center right now with a big incentive program, and their volume to open interest ratio at the time of this video is a whopping 58. Now, don't get us wrong, Asta is a real competitor in the sector, but that ratio signals some heavy farming activity at the least. EdgeX, meanwhile, sits in a comfortable middle lane. Markedly lower churn than the incentive max platforms, but also higher than Hyperliquid's ultra-low ratio of only 0.6. So, there's enough genuine flow at EdgeX that proves its product without feeling like the order books are being juiced. And what's more, there's actually an incentives program running at EdgeX too. The team has done their best to design things so points accrue from real usage, and they're being completely transparent as to how those points are being distributed. 60% goes to trading volume, 20% to their referral system, 10% to TVL and vault points, a little more on those later, 5% to liquidations, and 5% to open interest. EdgeX also explicitly states it will not reward wash trading in their points program. So, That's a pretty solid structure. And as we mentioned, the volume and open interest profile hasn't blown out like we've seen on other venues, which strongly suggests that the campaign is far from saturated. That is some nice points farming asymmetry in users' favour. And if you recall, you'll get 10% more points than you'd get otherwise if you use the link in the description or scan this QR code over here. So we think it's fair to say that EdgeX looks like a live opportunity, especially when compared to most other options out there. Now, before we hop onto the exchange to check it out, just some quick notes on security and risks. First and foremost, remember that EdgeX is non-custodial. That means the safety of your crypto is your responsibility. Your wallet is essentially the account, your signature moves funds, and transactions and approvals are on you. So, with that in mind, here are some housekeeping tips that can keep your funds safe. First, bookmark the official link we've provided to EdgeX down in the description. And going forward, only use that bookmark. Don't Google EdgeX and click on a result, and don't bother getting the link from their Twitter page. These avenues are common vectors for phishing attacks, and that's how people gift their crypto to scammers. But you can be assured that EdgeX takes their own security seriously. They maintain a public audits hub listing platform reviews by RigSec and Slowmist, and they highlight PeckShield's audit work on StarkEx, the Layer 2 stack that underpins the exchange. If you want receipts, you can find those in the description down below. But none of that can protect your funds from your own potentially careless clicks. So your part here is simple. Maybe a bit boring, but simple nonetheless. Keep long-term funds on a hardware wallet and only trade with a slice you want to keep hot in the market. Keep your recovery phrase offline and assume anyone who asks for it is trying to rob you, because they are. Self-custody means you are the help desk and the fraud department. Now, maybe that sounds a bit scary, but don't worry, it really isn't complicated. Just use the official EdgeX website and app, which we'll link, and the rest of the EdgeX experience clicks into place. So, without further ado, let's get signed into the exchange. Now, one neat feature of EdgeX is that you can sign up by either connecting a wallet or by simply using your email address. First, we'll have a look at using your wallet, and then we'll show you the smooth email sign-up. Spoiler though, even if you're using the email method, you'll still need to deposit crypto onto EdgeX using either a crypto wallet or a deposit from a centralized exchange like BitGet. A little more on that very soon though. But for now, let's start with the pure crypto-native way, connecting a wallet. This way, there's no email verification. All you need is a crypto wallet as your account. If you don't have one but want to use this method, then choose one of the battle-tested wallets like MetaMask. And you can find an official link to MetaMask in the description. Once you've set up your wallet, decide on which network you want to use EdgeX so you can be sure you have the necessary gas. If you're fee sensitive, Arbitrum or BNB Chain are the easy choices. Both typically cost only a few cents per transaction. Arbitrum uses ETH as its gas token, while BNB Chain uses BNB. You'll only need a few dollars worth that'll let you execute transactions to your heart's content. So once you're ready with all of that, you can head to the EdgeX app. And a quick reminder, be sure to use the link in the description or scan this QR code, because that'll get you VIP 1 status along with the 10% rebate for life and a 10% booster for those potentially lucrative EdgeX points. Once you're on the site, you're ready to connect your wallet. So simply click Connect Wallet, choose MetaMask in this example, and approve the connection. After that, EdgeX will notify you that it needs to send a couple of requests for your signature. These just prove that you control the address and enable your wallet to trade on the exchange. So go ahead and confirm those in the MetaMask pop-up. Now, before you can trade, you need collateral on the platform. As mentioned, EdgeX uses both USDT and USDC as trading collateral. After connecting your wallet, EdgeX will actually prompt you to deposit, with the added incentive of an EdgeX point if you deposit over $300 and clock over $150,000 in volume. Although you don't have to hit those numbers, of course, it's entirely up to you. Now, after clicking the deposit button, you'll be prompted to deposit either USDT or USDC, and also which chain you wish to deposit on. We're going for USDC on Arbitrum for this example. The first deposit will prompt a one-time approval in order to enable USDC, so go ahead and confirm that. After that, just confirm the deposit itself and you're good to go. And once the deposit has gone through, you'll find your deposited assets in the Portfolio tab. So that is the classic way of getting started on EdgeX with a crypto wallet. But the email sign-up is also super easy. Just click Connect Wallet and choose to log in with email. Go ahead and enter your email address. After that, they'll send a confirmation code to the email you provided. Simply enter that code. From there, EdgeX will send you the same prompts for approval to enable trading, only this time there's no additional step of confirming in a crypto wallet. And that's it, you're in. Now, when it comes to depositing after using the email sign-up, things are a little different. In this case, you're provided an address into which you can deposit crypto. But as we said, you'll still need either a crypto wallet or an account on a centralized exchange in order to actually deposit crypto to the address EdgeX provides you. And a quick note here, if depositing stablecoins to EdgeX from a centralized exchange, be absolutely sure that you're choosing the Ethereum Layer 1, BNB chain, or Arbitrum network. Your EdgeX account won't get credited if you deposit via other Ethereum-based networks, such as Optimism, for example. So, double-check everything before sending. And now for a bonus. As you might remember, there's another way to use EdgeX, its native iOS and Android apps. So if you live on your phone, like many of us do these days, the mobile route is legit. Simply download the official EdgeX app and fire it up. And quick note, if you want to use your own crypto wallet, you'll need the MetaMask mobile app on your phone, just as you do when connecting to EdgeX via desktop. That's super simple to set up on mobile too. MetaMask even lets you create a wallet with your Apple ID or Gmail account, if you're so inclined. However, just FYI, most crypto natives still choose to solely write down the seed phrase and store it on physical paper. Anyway, back to the EdgeX app. After opening it, just go to the Futures tab and tap Connect Wallet. From there, the sign-up process mirrors the desktop flow that we went through before. And to be fair, they've nailed the process. It's nice and smooth. And once connected, the interface mirrors the desktop as well. Just deposit USDT or USDC and you're ready to manage stops and entries from the couch or the queue at the supermarket. And that's it. You're on. Wallet connected and stablecoin funded. From here, you're a click or tap away from the order book. Okay, so you're all set to go whether you're on desktop or mobile. Now, let's have a closer look at EdgeX Perps. Going forward, we'll just stick with the desktop interface, but the layout and flow is almost identical on mobile, so each to their own. All right, let's start off on the trade page. If you've used a centralized exchange or any trading terminal before, this will feel familiar. TradingView chart prominently placed, the adjacent order book stacking bids and asks in real time, and the order ticket on the right. Just above that order panel is your position management panel, which gives you an overview of your positions and your all-important P&L. That is the whole cockpit. You don't need to memorize every toggle to get going, but you do need to familiarize yourself with the core features that enable trading. Market orders get you in the market immediately at the best current price, and limit orders let you place an order to buy or sell at your chosen price, once the market reaches it, of course. Now, the important thing to mention here is your stop loss. This is essentially your lifeline. If your trade goes below or above your stop loss price, depending on whether you're long or short, that stop is triggered and the trade is closed, limiting your losses. On EdgeX, you can attach a stop loss to your market or limit order before you fire them off, and along with that, you can set your take profit level too. That means you can execute a well-planned, good risk-reward trade where you stand to make a decent chunk if you're right, but only lose a relatively small amount if you're wrong. Now, let's talk about leverage and margin. The key here is to be conservative. Traders should rarely be risking much more than 1% of their trading portfolios on any given margin trade. So let's say you have a trading portfolio of $10,000. That means you risk no more than $100 on any given leverage trade. Leverage trading also lets you minimize any counterparty risk and become more capital efficient. So let's say you want to open a $1,000 BTC long position. If you post $100 margin with 10x leverage, that's a $1,000 BTC position. Now, let's say you set your stop loss 10% lower than the price you entered the trade. If BTC drops 10% from there, your stop loss triggers, you lose $100, and you're ready for the next trade. With leverage, you could put up $100 as margin for that same $1,000 position using 10x. Same position size, but less counterparty risk and less capital tied up. If the exchange has issues, only $100 is at risk, not $1,000. So, leverage is actually a tool to reduce risk and become more capital efficient, but only when used properly. Now, one really important thing to consider here is the margin mode. By default, EdgeX has you posting cross margin. That means your account balance backs all positions. But if you don't have stop losses in place, that could also mean that your whole balance is at risk. So, be absolutely certain you have those stops in place to manage your risk when using cross margin. However, instead of cross margin, there's also isolated margin. Without getting too bogged down in detail, EdgeX essentially spins up extra trading accounts for you to have isolated positions. Each account has its own margin silo, so a liquidation in account A doesn't touch account B. So, the practical takeaway is that a fixed amount of margin is allocated to any given position when choosing isolated margin mode. And that's the max you can lose. Another thing to keep in mind here is funding. That's the quiet tax on open positions. EdgeX settles funding every 4 hours, flipping payment between longs and shorts depending on whether perps trade at a premium or discount to spot. If the little countdown is green and positive, longs are paying shorts to stay in their long positions. But if the countdown is red and funding is negative, shorts pay longs. Over a multi-day hold, funding can dwarf fees, so just be sure to glance at it before you go to bed. And with that, we've covered all the main features of trading perps on EdgeX. Now, just a quick reminder on fees. EdgeX runs a tiered schedule with maker and taker pricing that gets more favorable the more volume you trade. The baseline has makers paying 0.012% and takers at 0.038%. However, if you use our link, you start at VIP 1 instead. That gives you maker fees of 0.01% and taker fees of 0.036%. It's a small change per trade, but it's not small as your trades stack up. Okay, now let's say you've nailed a trade and you want to withdraw some funds from the platform. Conveniently, the withdrawal flow mirrors that of deposits, just in reverse. From either the trade or portfolio pages, you click on Withdraw. Then choose your stablecoin, pick your chain of choice, and enter your withdrawal amount. Hit Confirm Withdrawal and your funds are off to your wallet. If you're withdrawing from an account that used an email sign-up, it's the same, but it'll ask you for the receiver address. Needless to say, be absolutely sure you have the right address here and that you've picked your desired network. Withdrawals on Arbitrum and BNB chain are almost always finalized in a matter of seconds, same as deposits, but Ethereum Layer 1 typically takes a bit longer as standard. Still, it's usually just a matter of minutes. However, just to be fully transparent, EdgeX does warn that it's possible for this process to take much longer, up to several hours under extreme conditions. It's rare, but it can happen, so just keep that in mind. Now, another quick note on withdrawals. For Ethereum Layer 1 withdrawals, you just cover the gas fee. But for Arbitrum and BNB chain, you're looking at withdrawal fees of 0.05% and 0.01% respectively, the trade-off for speed and convenience. So, considering Ethereum Layer 1 gas fees are typically very low these days, it could be worthwhile choosing that network as your chain for withdrawals, especially if you're withdrawing often. On another note here, for the tax conscious, every trade on EdgeX is a taxable event in most jurisdictions. Particularly if you're doing a lot of day trading, you really want to stay on top of your records. So be sure to track all your deposits and withdrawals along with every trade you make. You could even run your DEX activity through a dedicated wallet to keep tax records straightforward, or at least as straightforward as they can be. Now, we mentioned EdgeX's points program earlier, and if you recall, the lion's share of points, 60%, will be allocated to trading volume. Now, that's all well and good. After all, volume is the name of the game when it comes to perp dexes. However, if you want a passive way to earn points, you can also just provide liquidity to the EdgeX protocol vault called ELP. ELP provides liquidity for the exchange through several market-making strategies. It generates returns for liquidity providers through those market-making activities, along with liquidation fees and a portion of transaction fees. So, if you're interested, simply click the eStrategy tab. Then hit View Details on that page where it proudly displays the ELP Vault front and center. From there, just click Create a Vault account, and EdgeX will ask you to sign a couple of requests to confirm ownership and enable trading. Confirm those as you did before, and then you're ready to deposit into ELP. Just click on Transfer Now, and you'll be prompted to state how much you want to transfer from your main account to your Vault account. Decide that one for yourself, click Confirm, and you are done. After that, you can keep track of your returns on that same page. Now, just to be clear, these strategies don't guarantee returns, and there's also smart contract risk involved. At the time of making this video, the APR stands at 34%, but past performance does not indicate future returns, as we all know. Nevertheless, this is the easiest and most passive way to earn points, with 10% of the points program going to liquidity providers. Not bad if you're bullish on the DEX, but not so inclined to pump up your perp trading volume. So folks, that's about all you need to know about EdgeX, and that's about it for this deep dive. We've gone through connecting your wallets, depositing and withdrawing funds, perps trading, the fee structure, and even looked at liquidity providing for those that are averse to margin trading. EdgeX is a solid perps trading platform, and it's no wonder considering it came out from an Amber Group incubator. Just remember that self-custody means you're responsible for everything, from wallet security to tax reporting. And if you want to try EdgeX yourself, here's that sign-up link once again for instant VIP1 status. And if you want to learn more about the DEX wars that continue to rage on, you can check out a head-to-head comparison of Aster versus Hyperliquid right over here. So folks, that's all for now. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. This is Guy, over and out.